Hey guys, so today I'm going back to basics. I'm going to go through the seven chakras. My motivation for this was the other day I was hanging out with a friend of mine who's starting to learn about and become more and more curious about spirituality. And he admitted he didn't really know what the chakras were, although he hears it a lot. And I started wondering, I wonder how many people that is the case for. And I know that for me, for a long time, chakras was a vague thing. I just kind of accepted what other people said about them. Until in acting school in New York, I did this class called the Lucid Body. It's an amazing technique devised by this performer, Faye Simpson. There's a book, Lucid Body by Faye Simpson. If you want more information about this, I truly encourage you to buy her book. And this really gave me a hands on, organic relationship and understanding to what my chakras are and what they represent. So a lot of the information I'm going to provide today is going to be based principally on what I learned about my chakras through that class, and I'm also going to expand on it from what I've learned about these things through my own exploration and studies onwards, and other spiritual teachers along the way. So, our first of all, let's just go through the different chakras that we have. The seven basic chakras, because according to who you speak to, there's as much as 42. I've heard. I can't remember all the numbers I've heard. It's so many, but seven basic ones in our body. Maybe some say even more in our body, but the seven principal ones, let's say. Maybe like there's primary colors, and then there's all the colors you can mix from primary colors. Let's consider it that way. So there's the root chakra, which is found at the base of our spine, in a sense. It's the spot which we would sit on if we were cross-legged, sitting in a meditation position. Or crudely said, it is the spot between your anus and your genitals. That is your root. That is the part of you that when you sit down, it connects to the floor. And some people kind of consider the legs an extension of the root chakra because, well, they're kind of our roots. They're what connect us to the ground when we walk and everything. So I'm going to go through the chakras quickly, and then I'm going to go back into them in detail. So the second one is the sacral chakra. It is beneath the belly button and above the waist. So it's kind of on your last two abs in the middle of them. Or the pouch, if you have a pouch. I have a bit of a pouch. I find it hard to have those two abs super clearly seen, and we're going to go into that. There's a reason for that. I might even transmute some people's shame around not having those last two abs to their washboard six pack. That's the sacral chakra. Its color is orange. Above that, there is the solar plexus. It is top of the top two abs as the rib cage starts to come together below the chest. So I'm going to stand up for you guys and show you. So root down here, sacral around here, solar plexus here, yellow, heart, green in the middle of the chest, as it implies, as the heart, throat chakra, as the throat chakra implies. Our third eye, so between the eyebrows, that part of the forehead, and our crown, the top in the middle of our skull. So coming back down, I'll go through the colors as I explain more in detail about their aspects. So the root chakra, its color is red. Its frequency is slowest because it's represents the solidness of life. It represents the connection to the mineral kingdom. It represents what's actually here. It represents what I like to call geological time. So if you think of movements of the earth, the shifting of the continents, how long it takes to form land, and any significant movement of the planet in geological terms, it spans hundreds of years. So time to the earth is really relative in terms of its movements, and the root chakra has that kind of heavy, slow frequencies, very present. And our root chakra color of red, it represents our sense of grounding. It represents our sense of connection to who we are, where we belong, how much we feel like we fit in and how much we're sure of all those things. So when it's energized, you know who you are, you know what you stand for. You would fight to stand your ground. There's a sense of ownership of self and territory. That's the kind of energy that's also located in the root chakra. And when it's not energized, this means you're easy to push off your spot. It's also represented in even the way we stand up. If we're standing up, we're really well grounded. Someone looks like they have a strong stance. They're well centered. They're balanced. Their center of gravity is well balanced. That reflects the aspect in their root chakra, guys. Our chakras will have a physical representation, and this is because they are not just magic centers. They're also centers for physiological exchange. There's a concentration of hormonal activity around the root chakra, including testosterone, um, estrogen, well, I'd say mainly, testosterone created in the testicles, testosterone mostly created in the thighs. It's testosterone energy. But guys, the balanced chakra means that energy is that you're ready. It doesn't mean that you're not energized in your root if you're not always ready to be pumped up on testosterone seeming behavior. No, it just means that that behavior is very available to you in the same way that the behavior of, stepping off your center, stepping off your ground is available to you. And that is the sense of balanced chakra. If it's very energized, then you'll be in the very holding your ground. But according to the lucid body theory, what we present most often is usually as a result of something where we're hiding, a shadow in this case. And so if you're always needing someone who's always like man spreading on the bus, it's somewhere that may be overcompensating. If they're unreasonable and they need other people to not have their space, they're going to touch both your legs. It's both people's legs on either side of them to hold their space. And they're not even that big of a person. What are you doing? You don't really need to do that. You're not really uncomfortable. You fit in the chair. You're overcompensating. So the shadow aspect might be that they need to prove that they hold ground. And in this case, guys, our chakra configuration is also something that is fluid, because around different people we'll have different energetic configurations in our chakras, because depending on the relationship we want to foster with that person, subconsciously the body will have a certain chakra configuration because of the pattern that is most conducive to being around that person. Ultimately, when we want to be ourselves, our chakras are the most fluid. And when we're very balanced, the energy is available in either way. But this might change according to our situation, who we're with, location, what we believe, our health, all of the above. So I think I've done enough on the root chakra, and I've given you guys a bit of a basis on how energy flows through the chakra, what it represents, also kind of three-dimensionally or psychologically, with the introduction of the notion of shadow here in balance. I'm going to move to the sacral chakra, which, if you remember, is I'm going to lift my, sorry guys, not inappropriate, but I just want to be clear, it's on those two bottom abs. It's your little pouch. And so, guys, this chakra is its sensuality and its nurture. It's our pleasure center. And as much as the root chakra, let's say its element is earth, like geological time, the sacral chakra, its element is water. This really has that joy of the luxurious movement of water when it's unblocked, when it's energized, when we're in touch with it. It is our sense of sensory pleasure. And again, so if you don't have that six-pack, it means you don't have that sense of heightened discipline rigor that it takes to have one. Maybe you let yourself just enjoy life's little pleasures a little more than others. Some people might have more meat there than they want. or they're comfortable with it. Some people are very comfortable with a little belly, and those are some of my best friends. I really appreciate those people. Those you will notice those people are usually very generous. They a lot of times know how to cook, and they're a lot of times very sensually available people. They can dance. They're not stiff. It's almost like their roundness mirrors the smoothness of their joy in life. And this chakra's color is orange. It's when I'm meditating, when I'm going through my chakras in a meditation, and I'm feeling a little disconnected to my pleasure because stress, because I need to meet deadlines, because I'm not happy with the way I've been managing my exercise and diet and how I saw myself in the mirror. I like to think of lava in the center. I like to take the color of orange and think of lava in the center, slowly melting what was water, which may have become ice. And that's sinking down onto my roots where it could just it's held, the water's held by who you are. Solid foundation holds the water and lets the water move. And I think that's a good image for an energized, healthy, unblocked, available sacral chakra. Going more into the lucid body aspects of things. So, an exploded or energized sacral chakra is someone, yeah, who's they hug when they see you, they like sensual music, they like good food, they very touch your arm to speak to you. They're just very soft and approachable in that way. And maybe arguably to some a little touchy feely. And those who are very the energy is going in, drawn in, they're the kind of person that a dance party they're on the edge. They need a bit of wine or alcohol to unwind. They might have a bit of repressed sexual frustration. Doesn't mean they're not sexual, doesn't mean they're not sensual, doesn't mean they don't enjoy things, but it's kind of hidden. It's maybe needs a bit of coaxing out. Maybe their shadow is that they're hiding that once they unleash the energy in that chakra, you know, they're very sensual people. Let's put it that way. And again, balance from this chakra is it's sitting on your root. You can be what you truly feel compelled to be. You are not overly overcompensating with touchy feeliness. You don't need to get people's regard. You don't need to kind of be favored because you're actually a bit flirtatious in everything you do. But that comes when you're truly feeling it, when the energy from the other chakras is inciting you to bring that out. But also remember that our chakras configurations is fluid because our personalities are fluid, and this is going to change depending on situation, person, people we're around, place, what's going on in our life, etc., our health, etc., etc., etc. Oh, and again, as the energetic reflecting the physical, people who might not be enjoying their pleasures in life, their joys in life, are overindulging, might have cramps in the stomach. They might have either from stress or from being a bit too generous with their diet, things like this. The energy, the frequency of the sacral chakra is, well, the element being water, it's a little more fluid, a little quicker than the root chakra. And this is a tendency that as the chakras go up, it continues. So moving to the third chakra, the sacral chakra, the color is yellow. The solar plexus. The color is yellow, and as the name indicates, it's in our solar plexus below the chest by the upper two abs. And the solar plexus is determinant, or it's connected to our will, sense of desire, our sense of self-esteem. Its element is fire. It is our fire to achieve, to acquire. So someone who's very energized in the solar plexus, they walk into a room with absolute confidence because they know what they're good at. So this can be CEOs, this can be experts in fields, this can be surgeons who really stand their ground and feel like they know it all. The magic hand surgeons, the God complex surgeons, um, athletes who are stars of certain teams, your Cristiano Ronaldo's, your Kobe Bryant's. They have a strong solar plexus because they feel it is partly their duty to carry the team, to carry the franchise, to satisfy the fans, and they know they're the person for the job. There's no apologies, there's no excuses. Someone not as energized with the energy going in, imploded, solar plexus, they're that person who it makes sense to them that they need to apologize for something. Oh yes, sorry, of course, yes. It makes sense to them that they need a correction on something, criticism on something. They didn't do something perfect. They're not very certain of their self-worth, abilities, will, capabilities, desire. And with the solar plexus, I like to think of a balanced solar plexus as a bit like the sun. You know, the sun, it's constantly present. You know when it's going to rise. You know when it's going to go down. It's predictable through the seasons, and it's a dependable source of energy and light. It is steady burning. It's not an explosion, although there's solar flares in the sun. It's not a raging forest fire. And the sun not close up, but the sun and kind of in our relationship. Yes, there's some days that the sun will sunburn and all this stuff. So maybe a steady candle is also a good image. A steady candle, burning steady, constantly illuminating. And yeah, I don't know if I have any extra information on the solar plexus. So we're going to move to the heart chakra in the middle of the chest. Its color is green. And obviously, the heart chakra is our relation to love, not just sensual love, but just love of life, joy, beauty. Someone who's very connected with their heart center, they see the positives. They're grateful. They're generous because they feel like they have enough love in themselves to pour out into other people who could use some cheering up. They're that person outside, happy to see the trees, the sun, sunrise, sunset, butterflies, caterpillars. Love cat videos, like just the simple things, just cheer them up because they're just so connected, aware of how little is necessary and how abundant, like to feel love and how abundant life truly is. And that's the heart. And its color is green. And I like to make this analogy. I tell myself, this is not something I've learned somewhere, but it's something that resonates with me a lot. I think green because I look at plants and the color of leaves. If you think about it, leaves, chlorophyll is what makes the plant green and usually indicates that that part of the plant is making energy out of light, out of sunlight. So if you want to connect it to the solar plexus, our sun, our heart's making energy out of our will, our desire, our sense of self, strong sense of self. And it is enough to spread love. It is enough to beam rainbows out of your chest. And if you think of plants as well, plants are just very happy to, they are in total integration with their environment. They grow into the spaces that the sun allows them, that the nutrition they need allows them, that other plants allow them, and they take the shape that their environment allows them. And their ways of negotiating that space is deep, subtle, slow negotiation with the other organisms around. They are a niche. They're an ecosystem. And in this sense, I would say this relates to the heart space as well, because in the more spiritual sense, the heart is our It's our core of peace. The heart is stillness. The heart is our truth. The heart is the way that will make us happy. Some people, when they need advice, they take breaths into the heart, and you can all imagine this. Studies have shown that when you steady your breathing and imagine breathing through the heart, in breath going in, past and through the heart, out breath coming up and out and past and through the heart on its way, that this steadies your um, cardiac rhythm, and that this actually even encourages and incites in other people a more steady cardiac rhythm, which is associated with sensations of tranquility, peace, being, optimism. And so you can do that. And some people, they breathe through their heart for a while. They get still. They breathe through their heart for a while. They put a hand on there and they ask it questions and they see its response, whether verbal or a sensation. The heart will let you know what invigorates it. And for example, I've been doing Wim Hof for about 2 years now. And the way I was taught it is I've been doing the cold showers after, not always cold baths because I don't have time for that all the time. But the way I was explained to it, and the way I imagine Hof does it himself, is because this teacher was certified trained by Wim Hof, is when you go into the cold, when you go into that cold bath or that cold shower, you go into the heart and you breathe into there. And what this technique strengthens is that no matter what's going on the outside, you can breathe into the heart, and that regulates your blood flow, that regulates your temperature, and it makes you capable of superhuman feats, because once you're connected with your heart, you're connected with your safety, you're connected with, well, one intuitive friend of mine, very intuitive, very psychic friend of mine, she put it that she believes the heart is source. It is source for her. I mean, this is a poetic license here. But rather than thinking of source as something up and out past the universe in differentiated matter, pure light, for her, it's in our hearts. And that's why she believes so strongly in unconditional love and the way of the heart. And I thought that was just breathtaking. And in a meditation I like to use in my healings, I like to focus on the fact that when we're born, we start taking our, when the doctor pulls you out, and the typical image is he's holding you by the legs, spanks on your bum, and you you have your first cry and your first inhale, and then your heart starts beating of its own accord. And I started to think one day about this exchange between the gaseous space, what appears as empty space around us, which is inextricably in relation with us because we breathe. We don't have to choose to breathe. We're breathing no matter what we do. So in exchange for life, space around us wants to interact internally. We're one with it. We're breathing it in and out. We're breathing in oxygen. We're breathing the air around us. And what that does is it fuels the body to make the heart start to pump and beat, because that needs to pump the oxygenated blood from the lungs into the limbs. But what I focus on is it goes from an inhale of air to a receipt of a sonic pulse out of the chest. And I just find that profound. Just next time you're meditating, if you want to add something to your meditation, just focus on that aspect of breathing, that the receipt is a sonic pulse out of the chest, and one that can affect others, one that can allow you to feel what other people are feeling, and one that, if you come back to yourself, tells you the way for harmony and for your joy. Trust the heart. Same intuitive friend, Shakira Hughes. You can check her out on Facebook. She does readings and all the such. She once told me profoundly that the heart is the softest and yet strongest muscle in the body. So that's a lot on the heart. I'm going to go to the throat chakra. Oh, and the heart, the frequency goes quicker and quicker as it goes up. We have earth, water, fire, light, and then the throat chakra is wind. It's air, And the throat chakra, its color is blue. So this is a lighter to I'd say medium blue, because indigo is the third eye, so it's not yet that dark of a blue. And the throat chakra is connected to our truth. It's where we express our emotions. We have them in the body, but it comes out or doesn't, a sound in the breath. This is linked to the sonic realm. You can do resonance to clear out the body. Some people consider that ohms are an encapsulation of all of reality. So, in terms of truth, people think we program through our language. We program the brain, we program our subconscious habits, we program our patterns, we program what we go and affect in the world. So there's that depth to the idea of the throat chakra as truth. And when we're not expressing our truths, or our throat chakra is affected, sometimes that's when we'll get sick, we'll get sore throats, throat cancer in the worst of scenarios. But I don't want to freak people out. But the body gets sick sometimes from not expressing its truth, and the truth is connected to the heart, and the heart sometimes has a requirement on the throat chakra, because our truth in the heart most often requires connection with other people. So it's very energized, someone who shares a bit too much what's on their mind all the time. When it's not very energized, when it's imploded, someone who doesn't share, who fails to share their truth a lot. It sticks at the throat almost. Mm. To avoid that situation where it just opened up a bit, Someone who's balanced is seeing past the fact of just blindly sharing truth and having it stuck, and follows their impulse of when is the right moment, when is a genuine intuitive impulse to share their truth and be connected with it, and share it in the way that's appropriate for that moment, not thinking about it too much, just feeling it and going, yep, these are the right words. Then we move to the third eye. This color is indigo, and here the chakras start to get from the throat, from above the heart, another level of frequency a lot faster. So here we're talking about wind and the speed of language, and here we're talking about the speed of thought. So that's yet to be scientifically measured, but it might be the speed of instantaneous connection. People have psychic links with people. Mothers sense when children are in danger. And the third eye, the way it was explained to me, is it's the source of your empathy or judgment. So it's connection to other people. It's connection to other people's truths, to other people's stories, to what it feels like to be someone else. So either you can see that there's nothing really in someone else that you can't relate to a certain extent. There's only just a few circumstances that separate us from anybody else, and their actions and where they are and their state of being. Or judging, you reject another person's truth, or you need to just protect yourself from it for whatever reason. So judgment. Exploded is usually empathy. Imploded is a focus on the self, without letting in the other person, without a true letting in of the other person, and it becomes judgment. And this is why this is one of our centers of intuitive faculty. Some people get visions through the third eye. Some people, it's their connection to the higher chakras, which we'll go to in a sense. I believe that it is that, because a lot of the tools that we ground our exploration to source in are based in words. They are at least taught in words and then understood profoundly through experience. So you think of words, then the experiencing of reality, a conscious processing center, where it feels like is the base for our consciousness in our brain. Although we are conscious throughout our whole body, what feels like our base for consciousness is in our brain. It's close to our eyes, ears, mouth, and nose. It is really the hub for sensory input. And last but not least, we have the crown. The crown's colors are usually pink or white. middle of the forehead, and our crown is connection to above and beyond. What is not known of this reality, what is not known of this world, what spiritual world above us to a lot of people is our connection to our guides, our spirits. But on a more basic level, we'll just say faith in something higher or not. Someone who's imploded crown chakra, they need science. They don't like beliefs that they can't see, they can't have tangible proof for. They feel like they need to organize and be in charge of their reality. They don't put things down to fate or faith or hope. Whereas someone who's a very exploded crown, it might be that airy fairy friend of yours who is always saying something like divine timing and it's right time, and they let really, let's say, non-grounded, secular ideas manage their decision making and how they're interpreting the space around them, how they're going to execute their next tasks, make their next decisions. And yeah, there's a lot you can go into the crown, but I just want to keep this a bit grounded and keep it basic. And so the crown, without going too far out, some people believe you can open up your crown. That opens you up to extra dimensional access of realms, travel, all of the above. And well, if you're not looking for that, there's I don't believe there's any reason to go into that. But on a mineral level sense, on a very human and kind of lovely sense, it's because I think about this a lot of times. The statistics show that people with a religious faith tend to be, on general, happier than people without it. Not saying that you need to be religious to be happy, but just statistically, if someone believes in something higher than themselves, I go to, and this might be controversial to say, but this guy's he's had a profound aspect on my life, on the psychological grounded aspect, as well as his attempts to ground spirituality. He says this phrase, which it struck me profoundly. I'm not saying that I know there is a God, but I choose to act as if there is one. Because to act as if there is one, it's a belief that triggers a certain state of being. It allows you access to a certain way of being more readily. And so he's not a religious advocate, but that's his take on it. In fact, he does a Bible series, and you can check this out. It was on YouTube last I checked, where he did interpretations of the Bible if they were meant to be read psychoanalytically. So to stay away from all the, let's say, more extreme interpretations of things. And so guys, we're at 33 minutes, and really, chakras could have. I don't want to keep you this whole time with just the thing on the chakras. So I've given a lot of information there. I hope people now have a better idea of what these things are and what they relate to. I believe they also are reflective of our connection to narratives that go along the lines the energies of those chakras. If you're more balanced, you have more aspects of yourself available to explore, and so to be, and so to interact, and so to open up doors, and so to connect with other people, and so to get places. And that's why it's important. I might do one in the future, do a chakra balancing meditation with my points of view on things, potentially a workshop. But for now, here's just a bit of information so you guys can work with in your own time. And I hope you've appreciated this. If you've liked this video, please Please show your appreciation, like, subscribe, comment, watch the other videos if this has been interesting. It might complement them and make them easier to understand. So I take a lot of this information or knowledge as granted as I try to explain deeper, maybe more complex things. And that is a lesson for me to take in, that maybe it's all right for me to start from the basics. And I suffer quite commonly from the imposter syndrome because I was raised with manners. I don't know. Which means that a lot of times I feel like if I know something, I'm probably the last person in the room to know it. And it can make me appear cocky. And so if I've done that in other videos, I apologize for that. And I hope that we can have a lot more videos and information to explore on things of any nature that someone is curious about, that is basics of spirituality or psychology. And thank you very much. Healer Hawley out. And I hope you guys have a great time wherever you are, whatever you're doing.